right from wherever you're at, allow your feet to touch. Kind of a traditional starting point for Chinese martial arts is feet together, hands to the side. There are some Taiji forms that actually start just like that. But for this class, this is a general Kung Fu class. So we're starting right fist, left hand is open, over the top, this way. And let's start with a little bit of qigong, some breathing to warm up. So on one side, we're going to shift from one side and then reaching up, keeping both feet on the ground, and then bringing your hands back to the center. So shifting to the other side, reaching up, and then coming back to the center. So breathing deep. One side turning, center on the other side. So if you imagine your shape as geometric, like a square, or a box, or a rectangle, like you're standing over the one corner and you're reaching up to the other corner and then bringing it back to the center. So then the same on the other side as well, breathing deep, reaching to the corner and then bringing it to the center. Go at your own pace, breathe at your own pace. Balance it out, do an equal number on both sides. And when you get back to the center, line yourself up vertically. You know what? I moved my camera, so I don't know if stuff is centered. I need to have a. Let's try that. See how that works out. All right, maybe that's as good. And what are we doing? Just warming up. So let's start with the head top. And if you put your focus all the way to the very top of the head on the crown chakra, at the very, very top, it's not quite in the center, it's just a little bit, I don't know if you can see where my hand is, it's slightly set to the back. If you reach up there and touch around, feel the skin on the top of your head and feel, is it sore? Is it tight? What does it feel like? So do a little bit of massage around that top part. And then work your way out around the crown, not quite around where the hairline is, but around that point at the top, as if you're making a circle that's slightly larger, and just do a little bit of massage there. And then next I just want you to isolate this base of the head top here. So this, keep your shoulders and your neck in place as if you're just turning the very, very base of your skull. Start slow, start small. Remember to breathe the same breathing that we just started with the qigong. In fact, like that point in the center between your neck and your head top, you can imagine Frankenstein's monster has the bolts, right? In Hollywood, they show those places where they hook up the jumper cables, right? Imagine that's the pivot point is between those two lines just under the ears, and then that pivot point is also moving up, so it's stretching upwards while we turn it in a circle. Go at your own pace. Everyone has a different level of flexibility. You may only have to turn a little bit to get a stretch. And then next, move the pivot point down to the base of the neck. So if we were to turn, it would start from the throat chakra. And so you can, on this one, a lot of times I hold my shoulders to keep the torso lined up and then turning. So the pivot is working from the base of the neck, you're turning the whole head and neck. Like you're reaching up and extending along the circle the whole time, the whole way. Change directions if you haven't already. And then when you come back to the center, same thing, keep the pivot point in the center and move the whole upper torso. And then change directions, going the other way. The same thing, going in your own pace. So if you like to breathe slower, time it slower. See if you can increase the stretch by relaxing more. So make the circle larger by relaxing. And then next, you know what we'll do is we'll do something a little bit different. If we make those that's kind of a yin exercise. If we do a yang one, is turning the shoulder to the center, pulling up and back, and then setting it down behind in the front, back, and then in the front, pulling this shoulder up and turning. So almost like you're pulling something up and back. Turn all the way, shoulders turning 180 degrees. Try to line up your nose and your shoulders in the direction that you're going. Come back to the center. Let's do a little bit of turning around the waist. Actually, before we work lower, take some type of stick and just work over the top of your shoulder blades. So, feel in the back. Do not rub the vertebrae. Don't hit your spine with the wood, which means you may have to stand up straight, pull your posture correctly. You can try one side at a time. And then with the stick here, just turning. So with this, practicing starting and stopping the brakes by using the external muscles. So keep working, keep turning. I'm going to do something. As if your abs, you may feel it all the way out laterally to the sides, all the way to the center. Like to start, like you're going to pull one side to start it, and then on the other side, you can use it to brake. So you're using both sides to start and stop the rotation. And this is okay, by the way, if it has a little bit of overlap. When we look at things in the mechanical world, machines a lot of times just snap into place. But if we have something that moves more naturally, there's a sort of an overlap. So when you reach the extent, allow your body to relax. Keep your spine straight, pushing up through the back of the neck, relaxing the tailbone, so that you're lengthening the spine as much as you can while you're gently turning around the center line from that top point. Sometimes, by the way, in the Taoist teachings, they encode the North Star. They call the Baihui, this crown chakra point, the North Star. So when you're reading, and they talk about moving around the center of the North Star. That's something up here. And then next we can set this back down. And the same thing, make your feet stable, relax your tailbone, and turning around the center. Remember to breathe, full breathing. Next, try to keep your upper body as if it's in line, one piece, and the lower body as well. So like you're pushing your hips to the extent to all four corners or all the way around the circle. Remember to breathe. Change directions going the other way. Grip your feet. Check to see that you have a very serious expression while you do hip turns. And then when you come back to the center, let's do another sort of a slightly more yin exercise. We talk about yin and yang, something external, there's a lot of movement, and yin is more internal, it's something very subtle. So if we keep the feet parallel, shoulder width wide, I want you to make a connection between your tailbone and your feet. So almost as if like you're sitting just on the edge, right? There's a surface, and you just want to rest the edge of the backside vertically, going straight down. Keep the head top up. Grip your feet, and if you look down, you should be able to see the front half of your foot and your knees lined up. And as if we're going to try to keep the feet and knees in the same place, you can look down to check. As if we're sitting straight back and down. So keep relaxing the tailbone. Try not to change your upper structure, if anything, pushing up from the head top. So it's as if while the tailbone is sitting down, the head top is pushing up. Grip your feet. And then, while you're here, shift the tailbone as if you're turning the pelvis just a little bit to find the point where it can relax and the legs can be upright this way. Take a break for a second, do some breathing. I'm going to use this, but you can see with the doorknob, we're going to practice a way to do Tai Chi and the Kung Fu if your legs aren't strong enough, if you don't have the particular strength from doing a horse stance, is being able to do this and then moving through it, right, without having to, if we're here and we want to move, without having to shift so that my hip is out of alignment that way. So as I move to step forward, I can keep this, I have the strength to move the step here. So what we were just doing a second ago is if you imagine you take the doorknob and you can hold it and sitting back. How many here have ever been windsurfing? Where you have a surfboard, and then there's a kite or a sail that keeps it upright, and you hold on to the thing. This is the same feeling. So whatever you're going to hold on to, doorknob is probably the most easy, but if you have anything else that's stable, sturdy enough to hold your weight, put your feet parallel to it, and then just like you're sitting back. So if you see my structure, like it's moving back and down at the same time. And you can grip your feet. This allows you to see how far you can sit back when you practice. So part of this practice is cultivating externally the strength, the leg strength to do the thing. So One more time real quick from the horse stance. Relax your tailbone. Sinking back, sitting back further. Keep your back straight, your neck straight. Grip your toes. And then see if you can make with your back straight, your tailbone is pointing at your toe through that angle. And then relax your legs. See if you can make it so that your lower body's offline and your upper body is working on its own. You can just let the lower half relax. Next, continuing the warm-up, push your tailbone back and away, relax your spine, breathe deep. And then when you're ready, grip your feet, activate your whole lower legs, your lower body, to prevent the chi from going all the way up. Breathing, inflating, stretching all the way up. Relax. We're going to do another one of those. So the same thing, grip the ground, push your tailbone back and away, relax your shoulders, let your head top point towards the ground. Remember to breathe when you're upside down. And then when you're ready, activate the whole foot, toes, inflating all the way up. Go at your own pace. Next, legs. You can take longer stick, shorter stick, doesn't really matter which one. And we're going to do something we've done in this class before, which is sort of what we were just doing, which is bending forward, but this time take the stick, and as if you're pressing along the back of the leg as you lean forward, pressing all the way down to the heel. If you can get it to the floor, that's great, and then relax coming back up. And then we're going to change, same thing. So the more relaxed you can keep all of this, the better off it is. So practice as you bend, use your center, relax your legs, and pressing all the way down to the floor. We'll do another one of those. Same thing. You feel it's easier when you're standing, when we start to bend, those tendons become tight, so try to relax. And even if the stick is only rubbing on one line, one central line, that's okay. Try to use as much power pushing against the leg as you can on your own breathing. Grip your feet, relax the back of your legs. Use the stick to press all the way down. And relax. The next one, for the knee, same thing. If you like to use a chair, you can use a chair. You don't have to. We can practice a balance, hitting all the way around the horseshoe shape that goes right around the top part, front of the knee. Not on the kneecap, never on the kneecap. Always about 10 to 15% up the humerus from the joint. And then change when you're ready. Grip the ground. Practice your balance. Same thing for the next one. I'm going to use a shorter stick. Get a good stretch, change, and then tap it. And the idea is also to relax the tendons and the muscles in the back of the leg so that the vibration doesn't get stuck. So try to allow that to relax while it's stretching, while you're tapping, while you're breathing. Keep the tongue connected to the upper palate. And breathe deep. Change on your own. When you're ready, grip the other foot. Shift forward. Keep your nose pointed forward and your toes pointed towards the ceiling. And then try to let everything relax. And then the last one for your feet. Same thing, practice the balance. Remember to do the deep breathing all the time. It's something that you can continuously do. You can be practicing Qigong all the time. Change on your own. Especially right in the arch. You can feel the places where it feels good to actually do some tapping. All right. Let's do one more stretch, which is if you have a stick, especially a longer one, you can do it with a shorter one as well, and you put it vertically so it's lined up right over top of your head. And then we're going to turn. So if I face sideways, I'm going to put one hand up over the center and turn my other hand to the back. So reach this hand up and reach this hand out. Even with a shorter stick, you can do the same thing. Just change the angle and then turn a little bit more, breathing deep, come back to the center. Same thing on the other side. Grip the ground, turning, reach one hand up. The other hand goes back. You can change it. The length of the stick, and then turn a little bit more, come back to the center. We'll do one more on each side. Breathe deep. And then come back to the center on the other side as well. Grip your feet. Remember to breathe. Before we continue, anyone have questions, thoughts, comments on something that we have looked at, we're working on, have been working on, or will be working on? Maybe we should do it now at the beginning of the class. I don't know if I have enough material to do it as a whole class, but I have some new sticks. So for those of you that have ordered sticks, I have new waxwood here, and the way that I need you to send me some measurement for the stick, right? This is how we calculate the length of the BIAN, is if you take something, right? I heard somebody sometime mention that they have a Swiffer. You can use anything. You can use any piece of wood, plastic. It doesn't matter, because we're just gathering a measurement. And you want to hold it in your hand this way, and put it up so that your elbow is flush with the end of the stick as such. And then you want to bring that close to your chest and reach out the other end this way. So we see it goes from the elbow. If you see my arm is against the wall here, right where my elbow, and then the fingertips this way. So these two fingers, and then lined up here. You can see I have a couple different BIAN here. These are both mine, and they're a little bit different. They'll change in size based on wear and tear, but sometimes I cut them just a little bit long. So this one is slightly longer than the other one by about an inch. And so that's what I need, is if you have a piece that's longer than what you're using. In this particular case, this is a full uncut one, and if I line that up with my elbow, you see it goes to the edge, and then I take my fingertips this way, reaching out, is mark that distance, and then measure that. If we look, this should be the size of my BIAN gun, so it lines up. And by the way, this also has another alignment. There's an acupressure point in the middle of the sternum, two cune above the line that crosses the nipples, and there's a point there that this lines up with as well. But for now, you can use the elbow and the fingertip. So for those of you that have a request in for a stick, if you send me those measurements, you will get a BIAN gun cut in that dimension. Right. Before we continue, questions, ideas. We're working on something from the second section. We did the pop-up and the hit, and there's two of those back to back. We're going to review that tonight for Mark's benefit, and then we're going to work on more on the iron fan. So let's do the whole form from the first section up through the second section for the iron fan. If you have your stick and you start in your salute, take a deep breath and do the Tai Chi adjustment. Make all the micro adjustments inside the body. And then when you're ready, we have block, cast, waba, elbow, flip to smash, cut up, spinning block, drill, high hit, low hit, tip up, top, turn, 2, 3. Let's hold that for 1 second. I'll be going the other direction. Now if I'm facing north from here, waba, fold into the elbow, reach up and turn 90 degrees, reach across, turning 90 degrees back to the north. This is smash. And now if I'm facing east, we're going to pop up, hit back, turning west, pop up, hit back. And the next one is iron fan. So we step and hit, and then turn, step, and hit. So let's review that stuff tonight. Questions, thoughts, comments? All right, so the first one, by the way, a lot of these movements go back to the first warm-up movements with the BIAN gun, which is this one. It is the most basic, getting used to the size, the weight, the surface quality of it. You'll notice, by the way, this is a contrast, new weapons, they start out white, and then after some time, after you use them for some time, they actually get pretty dark. That's the oil from your hand and dirt that collects and seeps into the wood. It's your chi going into the weapon. So, practicing this one, we have the basis for the pop-up. And then also for the iron fan as well. So if you're working on the first of those two movements, the pop-up, is we can just be thinking from each side, like pop here and then slide underneath this way and then from the other side. So as if you're throwing the stick up and over. Please be careful, don't hit any electronics or pets or household members with your stick. And just practice the basic, which is what this one is. And if you have a longer stick, you can get this, there's a sort of different feeling you can get by turning, by throwing the stick up and over, or if I hold it closer to the center here, even with the smaller stick, you can just turn it to the center, or slide the hands like an X, like the 2 points, the 2 inside corners of an X shape. And so this one, for the pop-up, we can do another one, is practice trading hands. So you're sweeping past your foot, and then you come up the center and sweep past your foot and center. Sweep. And make your hand transfer smooth so that it goes to the one hand, to the other hand. I'm making my pivot point go in the center like this, right? So it's here and here, but I'm changing hands. Pivot, 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 right? So it's like if you want to think about a baseball, but hitting upwards this way, right? To the center, and then this other hand takes over and it turns this way, and then sweeping up, and then change, sweep up, sweep up. This is the pop-up here. Get it so that it feels very, very natural. And then after it goes up on either side, it doesn't matter, we do both sides in the form. After it goes up, we can hit back. By the way, this form is really super cool, versatile form. It's also a 2-player form. So once you learn the form, you don't even have to practice with another person. But the form mirrors itself. So if both people start off facing, and we do this, the first ready, clack. And then when we get to here, when we do the block, clack, they hit, right? And then, do I waba or cast, whatever. Doesn't matter, cast, clack, and then waba, hit in the center, and now hit. So this is in addition to learning the 1-player form, this is also a 2-player form. So for the pop-up, just like we changing the feet when we do the exercise, when we're breathing for the swing hands, the same idea, popping up and then hitting back. One of the details, finer details, is when he came back the second time, he's saying for this poke, keeping the hands close to the center. Remember, we said the other day, you can actually reach both hands here, but it puts you lose your center. So here, keeping this, at least one hand close to the center this way when we step back. So we have pop up, hit, other side, pop up, hit, and then iron fan 1 and 2. So let's see where this is in the second section. If I'm facing north, like I'm going in that direction, this comes after the elbow or the ankle smash. We're hitting down that way. It's on the edge of my gate. I flip up into the elbow, reach, turn, and scoop up. Now I'm facing west. I'm going to reach again. I'm going to turn north and smash. Right? So if that's north, and then after the smash, I do a wah-wah, and that's where I start the first pop-up. I'm using both hands to pop here, and then cross the hands, cross the step, poke back. And then the next one is going this way. By the way, when I teach this live in person, we do something called, there's no posture there, but to help you learn the movements, we're going to do something called a reset. And reset is like this. If you just take your feet and you make them shoulder width wide, and then you take the staff, whether you're holding it right to the end or close to or somewhere here, and you're just standing like this, just like you're in a ready stance, but there's slightly more stick at the end of the stick, that way. So if we go back to the pop-up, we have the scoop, smash. If you go to reset after the smash here, and then go to do the pop-up, poke back, and then here, reset. You can change to any direction, and it's correct. And then the same thing, pop-up. I'm now using my right hand to do the thing, right? And so the same thing, after I poke back, I want to reset, because then I'm going to go into iron fan 1 and iron fan 2, right? So that that little reset is to help, because there's some turning and there's some weird hand trickery in the hand, like the hand tricks. This turning, getting back to a default position to reset helps us to do the thing. Let's go again from the beginning of the second section. After I've done the turn, I do the ankle smash. I get to hear is 1, wah-wah, elbow, reach, scoop, turn, smash, and then reset. And now from here, like you're sweeping past the foot, pop up, step back, and then reset. And now the same thing here. You can scoop up past the foot, step back and reset. Or step back and poke, and then reset again. And from the second reset on that time is where we're going to start Iron Fan. For the pop-up, anyone have questions, thoughts, ideas? Let's go to the Iron Fan. We started this last week, and I'm going to use the yoga ball here as a target. And I may use some other things as well, but the idea is that we're going to sort of use our body to turn around the target and strike the same place twice while moving. So after we've done, if I do pop up 1 and poke back, pop up 2, poke back, when I reset, my target is going to be at least to my side, right? It's going to be at least 90 degrees this way. It may be further back. And I'm going to start, this is almost like boggle circle walking. If I walk around this target, my right side is facing the center. And my right hand is palm down, facing the center this way. As I walk, I'm going to take my left hand palm up, and I'm going to throw the stick up and across into the center of the circle. So, stepping forward, my right foot steps forward, right? So this is the Iron Fan 1, bonk. And then next, I'm going to turn my left foot all the way around so the toes are pointing at my right foot like this. This is for any of you that study a Bagua, right? We have this, Wing Chun also has this kind of V-shaped step. We're not going to remain there. We're going to actually turn through that. So after this foot steps forward, when this other foot hook steps, this foot relaxes, right? So we're going to use that as a pivot point. So as I walk, I have my right shoulder facing the center, my right hand at the base of the stick, palm down, my left hand ready to throw it over the top. If I walk around the target 1 time, I'm here. And so now, my left hand throws while my right foot steps. And this hand, after the throw, when it throws it over, you can actually pull it down the stick to make some power, right? So this is the Iron Fan technique, is we're throwing it up and pulling it down. You'll feel a sort of, and you can time it with the step. So there's, right, this power. So that's 1. And then you see where the yoga ball is, and you see my position. I'm going to turn. I want to be facing 180. I want to turn to the north after this. And so I'm going to turn my body. And then from here, I'm just going to turn the stick. You see my wrists are coiled. I'm going to uncoil them 180 to overturn and hit to the same direction. Right? By the way, this one is a tricky one, so just hang in there. We're going to see it from a couple of angles, and it may take more than one class to get it across. So just be patient. Let me face a different direction. I'll go that way. Same thing. Right side is facing my target, which is in the center of the circle. Right hand at the base, palm down. Left hand, palm up. And I want to step and throw for Iron Fan 1. Just like this. And then on the next one, I'm going to turn my body 180 to face the south. And then I'm going to uncoil my wrists to hit the target. And that's Iron Fan 2. So we don't want to split this into parts. We don't want to split this into Iron Fan 1, iron fan 2. Essentially, this should be almost as if it's one movement happening. So if I can get that target to stay there, I go 1. So it's hitting the same place. 1. But we're turning our body, and you should feel this hit. It lands, the second hit lands when your foot lands, your body is turning. This one on the bag is, by the way, this one is, the iron fan is one of my favorite hits because it just feels so powerful, even without hitting anything, to throw this over and then get your whole body whack is very, very, it should feel like once you understand the movement, it will feel very powerful on its own. So if my target is here, and I'm facing, let's say this direction, here is a southeast, we'll just call it east for ease of use. I'm facing east, I'm going to turn west. So I have my target, I go 1, 2. I have to be careful because I'm limited on space. There's a shelf, I almost just whacked the shelf. But now imagine my target is the center in the camera, right here. And so if I'm facing sideways, I'm going to hold the stick here, and I'm going to throw like I'm throwing this thing up and over, right? And at that point, you see my hands are coiled, and it creates this is the same thing. Did we do this last week? We did it at some point where if you just hold palm up and palm down, and you turn them like this, allow your wrists to relax. Don't do anything that's painful. It should feel nice and relaxed. And this uncoil is the iron fan. So if you have a stick that has a bigger end, right, versus a smaller end, you want to be using the club end, the larger end, both times. 1, and then when you turn 180, you're hitting with that same end. So it's almost just like this, which we can get back to the basic exercise, right? Iron fan 1, iron fan 2. Everything comes back to the basics. This is just like in our Taiji form. When we're here, we have grasp the sparrow's tail, right, and ward off. This feeling of always, all those postures, all the stuff in the Taiji has that same, the same kind of transfer. Once it's here, we have grasp the sparrow's tail, ward off. The same thing, this opening movement. This is iron fan right here. 1, 2. Everyone have some idea for iron fan. You have some, it feels correct. You get the idea for the turning. Yes, no, let's see what people are doing. Mark, that is actually correct, but I want you to think about turning around the pivot point more. So I'm going to use some things to indicate direction. So if the direction is going here, right, I have a line of action. I want you to work your way from this side of the line of action to the other. So what I mean is, this is a saber, and if I'm on the back side of the saber here, and I want to hit the handle, the hilt, right, I'm going to first step across to hit the hilt here. I'll use the longer grip, is here, and then I'm going to turn my whole body and stick 180 so that I can make my feet parallel this way and still hit the thing. So my stick, even though it's turning, it's doing this. It goes 1, 2. It tries to stay along that line of action no matter how much you turn, right? This is, I think this is what was confusing about the pop-up 2 weeks ago, because the same thing, this pop-up should stay along the surface of the wall, so I can pop up, and it's as if the stick is floating on a planar track. So the iron fan is the same thing. The iron fan turning in space like this, right along the same line as our trajectory. And then we're stepping through the fan as it's turning. It still stays in the same plane. We just step through the fan while it goes so that we can be on the other side of it. 1, 2, right? Let's actually do something We'll try some going in different directions. I'm going to face east and west and then north-south, and we'll continue to change. So if my target is on my side, I'm going to go 1, 2, and now the same thing. If it's in that direction and I'm traveling this way, I'm going to say 1, 2. Now if I go this way, right, I have 1, 2, and now if I'm going this way, I have 1, 2, right? If I go at an angle, 1, 2, and then this angle, 1, 2. All of what we want to do is get the whole body turning and spinning and coiling underneath the stick. That way, at the right time when it goes to unwind, it's all in the correct place, and we get power. The hand trick for iron staff is this kind of. This one, by the way, if you're out, especially for Mark, you're outside. I don't like to hit the ground with my sticks, because if you hit something hard like a concrete or even where there's carpet, you can damage the stick. I don't know if if the autofocus will work, but there's pieces of this stick missing from me smashing it onto the ground. I don't recommend it. Protect your gear. Even if it's grass and you have soil, especially the waxwood is absorbent, and if you don't have enough oil on it, it's not waterproof. So when you hit it, that mud and stuff gets stuck in there. And if you have a nice, well-tanned staff, the water and the mud will sort of either get stuck in there or remove some of the hand oil. So, but you can do it. You just don't recommend it all the time. With this one, go ahead. Go.
On this one, I've got chair protectors.
That's it. Okay. So if you can't see Mark's camera, he's got like a rubber cap, silicone cap that goes right over the top, and that's actually a great idea, especially if you want to practice and you don't have something like a bag to work on with this kind of thing, right? Iron fan. And then so hitting the ground with something like that, or if you go to the beach, because the sand has good diffusion, you may again do like a type of sand erosion on your staff. That's okay. It's part of using it, part of growing in your kung fu practice. But on this one, it's really good because you can really hit. And then when you turn, hit, you can really feel the power, and because it's going down to the ground, it's really pretty nasty. Iron fan is good for all types of weapons, attack. What's next? So we have scoop, smash, pop up, hit, iron fan 1, iron fan 2, and then the next one is a sweep. It's a sweeping hit. There's sort of, each of these sort of has a back-to-back, and we need to stretch. Should we stretch some more? By the way, if you have questions, you can feel free to ask them at any time. So the next, you see each of these kind of there's like two of them that are sort of paired. We have pop-up and poke, pop-up and poke. Those are two. We have iron fan 1, iron fan 2. These next two are 1 and 2. So they're like striking kind of blocks, right? It's like a standing. Iron fan is like a weird thing. Like you can by the way, just like the pop-up, I can hit my target way over there with the pop-up and hit. I can do the same thing with the iron fan, right? This stick can reach pretty far. So when I step and I get to there, when I turn, but because of the distance, it won't be as fast. So I can also do it shorter if I constrain the length of the stick. I have not used the demo for the shorter stick, but this also works well, especially for hand-to-hand when it's close quarters. This is 1, 2, right? And you would keep this kind of 1, and then when you turn this way, pulling down towards the hip pocket here, towards the corner of the hip, right? So this This one easier maybe, right? 1, 2. Should be like a back and forth, and it should stay on a line. Next 2. So we have iron fan 1, iron fan 2. The next one is almost just like the first block, right? Is after we've done iron fan 1 and we turn, we have iron fan 2. We're almost in that kind of reset position that we had talked about. And so we're going to wah-bah and sweep up to the corner. So that this one is almost like a left-handed punch. Think of it like a door opening here, right? If you have an opponent and you have your hand still here in the hip pocket, and you take this and you sweep your right foot's going to step to where it wants to go, and your left hand and foot are going to sweep to that position. And the next one is just turning the staff over the other way. So these are going to be combined. Let's try to follow along a couple of times from the 2 pop-ups. We're going to go vertically, diagonally, and then iron fan 1 and 2, and then the next 2 movements. So from the smash into this corner, I'm going to wah-bah, pop up, hit back, reset, pop up, hit back, reset, iron fan 1, iron fan 2, sweep left, sweep right. So let's go from the second iron fan. If I'm facing north, so that we're on the same page, right? So if I've done, if I started this way and I go 1, 2, right? Now I'm facing north. This sweep is a wah-bah, and I'm going to step and sweep this way. And then the next one, I'm going to take the stick. If you see the angle, it's going up this way. I'm going to reverse it on the other side. And I'm also going to pull my hand back this way to get this kind of effect, right? So we get this sliding, and there's a double pivot. We start with the pivot here, and then we contract the edge of the wheel to come back to the base pivot. And that goes up to the corner. So these, by the way, are like mirrors. Remember, we said the gate is like your border, right? The doorway through which you come in. So these 2 movements, if I use the gate here, my doorway, the first one is, let's see, what's the iron fan 1, iron fan 2. This one goes to this corner of the gate, and the second one goes to this corner of the gate. So if I'm facing the camera, right, it's like directionality. It's crazy. 1, 2, gate, right? So this is lined up with the edge of the camera here. And then the next one is turning it over this way. So for this one, I have my left hand upside down by my hip, and my right hand over the top by the shoulder, like I'm pushing something this way. And the other one, the first one, right? So iron fan 1, iron fan 2. This one is pressing up to the corner, and then you can switch first and then turn this way. And this second one can also have this type of popping movement. Anyone have thoughts, questions, comments? We'll probably come back to those next week because I think it's time. We have just a few minutes.
Can you show me the hands? Do you switch the lower hands when you do the second one? Do you switch the lower hands?
Say that again?
Do you switch the lower hands? Like when you sweep the second time, do you switch your hand to the hand position on the lower hand?
Let's look. You say for iron fan or for the 2 sweeps? Because iron fan, you can lock this hand and turn it this over, and then because they're already coiled, when I go to turn the other way, that unwinding power will come out naturally, right? So even if I don't hold it all the way, if I just hold it here, and when I go to throw this, my hands are together, And then when I do the U-turn with my foot this way, I'm going to allow these hands to unwrap at the same time. So the power hits. So that's iron fan 2, right? So here, here. And then 1, 2. The next one,
For the sweep.
the sweep. I'm from
Sweep.
yeah. So from this one, I have my hands together from the second iron fan, right? So if I 1, 2, and then this sweep, almost like a left punch, like it's here, and it's going to slide up my staff to like a left punch, right? But you can think of it as opening the gate and putting your stick right on the edge of your gate, right on the edge of your thing. And it's angled 45 degrees. It goes from your hip to the opponent's face. So if I have one opponent and I go 1, 2, right? The sweep 1, 2, right? Is 1, 2. 1, 45 from hip to the opponent. 2, 45 from hip to the opponent. And the alignment is on the edge of my gate. So if I travel forward this way, 1, 2. I gotta change directions, right? Here, from iron fan here is sweep, sweep, corner, corner. These are very, very, very simple compared to the other ones. We may seem overcomplicated. It's very much after the second. We have 1, 2. This one is just sweep up and sweep across this way, right? So those 2 sweeps. And then the next one, after the second sweep, is something we've done twice already, which is another flip to the elbow, but this time with a sort of follow step. And then we have 2 smashes. Smash, smash, and then guess what? Another fan, turn. And then here, block, block, and we're at the end of the form. So we're almost done with this form, so be patient. It's 8 o'clock now, we've got to do something. If you have questions, just bookmark them. You know how to contact me. Allow your feet to touch. Let your hands go into the most relaxed position. If you let your middle fingers reach all the way to the extent right on the center of your thigh, take your fingertips and just massage those points right where they touch the side of the thigh. Change directions, do some going the other way. Remember to do the long breathing. Press harder on that spot. You may feel as you work around and make some circles, make some figure eights, some Tai Chi shapes, you may feel some area that's a little bit more tense. Press into that space. And if you're interested, I'll let you look up what those points are. It's on the gallbladder meridian, and the hint is it's in the 20s. Is it gallbladder 23? Is it gallbladder 27? Gallbladder 24? Find out when you go to research it online. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Yeah, call with questions.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Bye.
See ya.